Welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as known classics. This is episode number 1302 and Doubleshot number 1186. Now, I do have two Marvel trades. One is collecting a very short-lived series. The other is second half of a series. Let me be right back for a second here. I forgot something. There we go. That's all right there. My apologies about that. I had to grab a couple trades for the other one because it's the last thing for this one. Alright, T. So, now, I know I should have done that before my thing decided to fall off. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry that I have to keep adjusting this, but my thing I'm using this is a towel I'm using. Yes, a towel. And I've used this thing as the back of my chair for several years because I think it just looks good. That's the reason why I put it. And do I clean myself with it? No. I just simply use it because it's a good background piece for my chair. Alright, so first we're on to a sci-fi book that came up back in 2017. Yeah, this is a place for the Rocket Raccoon series. This is Rocket, the Blue River Score. This collects the Rocket series, the entire signature series by Al Ewing, with artwork by a couple different artists on here. Actually, just one. You have Adam Gorham. The cover art is by Matthew Mayhew. Yeah, this input is like a James Bond style series starring Rocket Raccoon. And yes, he's wearing a suit. And in case you're asking though, like, wait, isn't this the same suit he's currently wearing in the current Guardians book? Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, this book is actually referenced in there in the first issue. Now, I gotta show this off here. The opening shot you see here is this, which is Rocket Raccoon like doing fire his guns off with this pose. Now, my guess is that, I'll talk more about the borders in a minute, is that this opening shot is very heavily inspired by Jason Statham, the Transporter. Now, if you're going to ask me, Nick, have you seen the Transporter movies? The answer is no. How would I know that? Because I've seen clips of it. That's how I know about it. Yep. Basically, things starts off not only with that. Now, a lot of this stuff is told this, like, pulp noir style. This pulp hard-boiled detective style. Yeah, a lot of the pages are like this, where I have this dialogue just put on the page. Yes, a lot of the pages are like this. Now, in this book, starts out with Rocket at a bar, just drinking. He comes across his old girlfriend, an otter. Yes, an otter. Yes, who is his old girlfriend from the 80s. This is Ota Spice. Yes, she's his old girlfriend from the 80s from the Keith Giffen run. Yeah, why is she here? Because she needs help. Help living the planet. Like, okay. So, of course, Rocket's going to steal some stuff because he's somewhat of a thief. And so he hires up a crew. A crew only appears in just this series. You have the people on the cover. A snake woman. A guy who looks like a turtle. A woman with green hair. I don't remember this. Yeah, let's see if I can find these people. Because he slowly recruits them like in the first couple issues of the series. Like, first you see him wearing the outfit he currently wears, that he was wearing in the Guardians book at the time this book came out. Yeah, this is basically a replacement for that book. So, basically his team is made up of China Doll. Let's see. I believe that's the woman who's a snake woman. You also have Scatterbrain, Numbers, and Fro 2. Yep. And now, here's something interesting now. I'm not going to show this off here because apparently this snake woman is topless in the book. Now, here's something I don't like about this book is the fact it kept changing whatever direction basically the book was going. Like, first you have them wearing these suits on the cover for about 2 issues and they stopped wearing them for like no reason. Yeah, no reason. Also, we have a character in here. Her name is Gatecrasher, Now, appearance-wise, you probably think, wait, what the heck is the clown doing here from Spawn? Well, this is not him. This is a woman named Gatecrasher, who becomes, like, Rocket's new flame for reasons. Yeah, Rocket himself wears the suit he wears in the cover. He wears it the entire series. Which, you gotta at least praise the fact the guy actually... You at least gotta have praised Al Ewing for keeping the guy in the suit that he promised he's going to be wearing at the start of the series. And, of course, in trial briefly. And then, by part with this series, he gets prisoned. And we have more internal dialogue. And you have the Gatecrasher who kind of becomes his new girlfriend. It's weird. Also, for a series that features aliens, that the only human pops up in here is Deadpool! Yep. The only human pops up in the series, with the exception of what happened in the last issue. Yep, Deadpool pops up in here for a couple issues. Yeah, it's great to see Deadpool pop up in a non-Deadpool book. Yeah, in case you're curious though, like, why is he here? Why is Deadpool wearing this suit? Well, that was explained in Gary Duggan's run. Basically, he was off in space briefly to get rid of, I think it was Madcap. Yeah, he was basically in space to get rid of Madcap. That's the simple gist of it, of the reason why that he was doing that. Also, we also have his girlfriend Otter put on this very good looking dress. Yeah, like something out of James Bond, like she's like one of the Bond girls. Yep. Yeah, and then we have this scene here where Rocket's still wearing his suit, but his crew is not wearing their suit from the cover. Nope, they dropped that for some reason. Yeah, it's almost like this book basically had its editor change its mind on what exactly it wanted to do. And then for the final issue of the series, we have a flashback to the Bill Mantlo Keith Giffen Rocket. Yeah, this is the outfit this is the outfit Keith Giffen designed for him. And who is that rabbit there behind him? That's Blackjack O'Hare. Yeah, he is a character from the original Raccoon series in the 80s. Yep, that's who that character is. And it's a great flashback. A little bit of some present day, though they do in fact wrap up the stuff with it toward the end of it. And like everybody who got shrunken, and pretty much like all the characters. Apparently China Doll is the Snake Woman. Numbers is the Frog. Vertu basically is the furry guy. And let's see if we can find here. They don't really say. I think that's Scatterbrain. Yeah, Scatterbrain is apparently the green hair woman. Mm-hmm. Yep. They defeat this Kree guy who Rocket's in prison with. And then the series ends with, okay, let's have Star-Lord show up. Time to get back to the Guardians. And they wrap the series off with a nice little ending there. Yes. Now, I appreciate what Al Ewing was trying to do. Now, the humor here is... Now, Al Ewing is known for doing a lot of humor in his books. That's his trademark for him. With the exception of Immortal Hulk, which is a very good series. Even though it's taken very seriously, it at least is good. This book is a bit disappointing. Like, the change direction, like, oh, we have these great characters. Scatterbrain, Pharaoh, China Doll. I love these character names. It's almost like it's out of a pulp detective story told in space, replaced with a bunch of aliens. Yeah, that's a simple gist we can say the story is. I don't really appreciate the character of Gatecrash, because all she is just a ripoff of the Violet from Spawn. I don't know if Tom McFarlane even knows about this character. I'm sure he probably doesn't care. The fact that Marvel has a ripoff of the clown at Marvel. Yeah, I almost kind of forgot that she was even there. I do remember this series. But here's the thing. It's been almost 4 years since I read this damn series. And of all the books I've read by Al Ewing, this book is by far the weakest book he's done. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I do appreciate about is how Rocket is. But Rocket's the best character of this whole series because he's the star. I mean, if you want to think of another character who at least is interesting aside from him, well, his old girlfriend, the Otter, she's not that interesting at all. She's written to be very not interesting of a character. His crew is somewhat interesting, though they deal with like crime bosses. Like, unless you're a fan of this style of storytelling, you probably would not be a fan of this. Like, I would only recommend people to get this if you're a fan of Rocket Raccoon or if you're a fan of Al Ewing. I got this book peeled because I'm a fan of Al Ewing. I mean, I do like Rocket Raccoon. He's a great character. His creators, basically, I'm fans of. I'm a fan of both of those two guys. But this, out of all the books that I've read that basically Al Ewing has written, this one is by far is not his worst book per se. I would probably say it's his weakest book. This book basically tries to go in a direction. It has a good start to it, and then it just changes direction. It works with a woman basically apparently they were trying to rob, and then they work for her, and then they have the character stop wearing their good-looking suits they wear. Yeah. One big positive side from the artwork is Rocket wearing this suit the whole series, and the fact Al Ewing had wear the suit again in the current Guardians book, which I thought that was awesome. I give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. I mean, the only cool thing about this book is a cameo by is a guest star appearance by Deadpool. Now, if you're going to ask, does Al Ewing have experience writing Deadpool? Well, he never wrote Deadpool a book during his period of time. No, it was Gary Duggan. He probably did it as a favor to him because Gary Duggan was having where Deadpool was in space. So, have Rocket. Have him guest star on a Rocket book. Okay, perfectly fine. Yeah, that's the only reason why he was there. Was because he was off in space for a few issues in his own solo title. This is around like issue 30, where they were pretty much like, it seemed as though when I was reading the book at the time, even when I was rereading it for my reviews, it seems as though Gary Duggan was wrapping a lot of loose ends when it came to like around issue 30. Yeah, like a lot of loose ends he basically was dragging up the whole run. He basically was wrapping up by that particular point in time. And this was, I think, just before, after they had rewritten off Deadpool's wife, who got married to Dracula. This when he showed up later, she's like missing. Don't know where that smoking hot woman is. Alright, moving on to a book by Kelly Thompson. Mr. and Mrs. X, Volume 2, Gambit and Rogue Forever. This collects issues 7 to 12 of the ongoing series. Yeah, I'm not really sure of why this book ended after 12 issues. It's presumed it's probably low sales, but how could a book starring Gambit and Rogue not sell too well? Yeah, that's something I tend to question about that. Now, there's actually 2 story arcs here. The first story arc, which takes the first 4 issues of this trade, is simply put Gambit and Rogue in Mojo World for a few issues. And yes, you can guess that appearances by Longshot, Mojo himself, a character Major Dominic associated with the group, and Spyro's here too. Yep. Now, Longshot has always been kind of a confused of a character because of the fact they keep changing him. Like, some say he's human, some say he's a robot. At one point, this guy was married to frickin' Dazzler, and it just seemed as though that writer simply forgot he was married. And, by the way, despite this is Mojo World, if you're going to ask, no, Shatterstar is nowhere to be seen. This guy is apparently supposed to be Longshot's son. Yeah, it's kind of weird. And then, pretty much when they get back to Earth, like issue 11, Rogue is called away to go do a guest star spot in the pages of Captain Marvel. Yeah, that basically, because Kelly Thompson was basically right, because she's still writing the book to this very day. This basically, it just a way to write out of the issue, just so he can make a guest star appearance in that book, because she read both books. And then, of course, she does show up in the last issue. Mostly put for the last couple issues, it's simply put them versus the Thieves Guild. That's simply what it is. It's great. And we also get a brief guest appearance by Gambit's father. Now, he's not asked exactly if he has any opposition to his son getting married to a fellow X-Man, who is also Southern Belle. Now, apparently, from what I remember reading, apparently he approved of his first marriage to I think her name is Celestial Dawn, I believe her name is, who he later divorced, by the way. Yeah, he approved that marriage, but this marriage, I'm not really sure. Mystique clearly had no problem with it at all. Yeah, she had no problem with Rogue being married to Gambit. No problem with it at all. But as for Gambit's father, he does say a word about it. And of course, well, they see some of Gambit's family, and they love Rogue very much. And I love the fact that Kelly Thompson still advances the relationship really well. It's just that, I'm like, okay, they're married now. Are they allowed to have kids? That's a very good question. But this is actually pretty good. And The series ends quite nicely. Give the book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Final thoughts of the series. Now, basically, the relationship got basically reconstituted thanks to this miniseries, Rogue Gambit, also by Kelly Thompson. This is where it started. And probably because of the success of this miniseries, because of them come back together, they gave them their own spin-off, Mr. and Mrs. X, starting with this book, which had a debut of Xavier's daughter, Zengendra, her mother is Leandra. Though it's not entirely clear about her, because some people also question her mother might be Deathbird, but they haven't really clarified that at all. That was mentioned in the Pages of News. And basically, it's all about the honeymoon with the guest appearance by Deadpool. And then you have this, which simply ended the series. Yeah. It's an overall really good series. Yes. Not a terrible series per se. I tend to wonder, why the heck Marvel ended this series with 12 issues? Now you might be asking, what's because of the pandemic? No, this series ended back in 2019. I'm not kidding about that. These issues came out in 2019. Yeah, it was roughly a little over a year ago, I think it was. Yeah, 2019. Yeah, as far as I can tell, there's been no official reason why this series ended. It was presumed because of, maybe you could say it could be because John Hickman's plans for the X book, so they just canceled this book. Though at least the characters are still married, thank God for that. And they're featuring Tina Howard's Excalibur, which is really good. Though I think the second arc was a bit of a drop off from the first arc of the series, which I thought was really good. Though I haven't got a chance to read get my hands on the first trade that collects the stuff that came after X of Swords, for good reason. The book's not out yet. Yep. But here's kind of something interesting though about this. Initially, the series was launched as part of the Regenesis Initiative. Yeah, along with X-Men Blue, Gold, Red, Black, which is a series of one-shots. I think it was one arc of Old Man Logan and All New Wolverine. Now, I pretty much have got... Oh yeah, there's also Jean Grey as well. I think I've pretty much gotten through almost everything related to Initiative that came out roughly about 4 years ago. I would say the only thing left that I could think of maybe X-Men Black, which was a series of one-shots. And I think maybe one more arc for the X-Men, I believe. Let's see here. If I can find it here. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see here. Oh, it's Resurrected, not Regenesis. Yeah, let's see. For the X-Men, I would probably say that I've covered most of it. Yeah. Let's see. The other books left. Let's see. I just finished covering Mr. and Mrs. X. That's probably part of this. Let's see. There is... Still got the rest of Old Man Logan, Iceman, Generation X, and Cable. And, of course, X-Men Black. Yeah. Yeah. So I got a little... Basically, I'm about halfway through with the Generation X Initiative. Yeah, that came out roughly in 2017. It ended in, I think it was 2019. Yeah. I mean, these books are not terrible per se. Yes, let's play in nostalgia, but they're still good books. Yep. So yeah, that's episode review. Next few, another comic corner. You have 2 more of these. And of course, the next one's going to cover... Now, the next 2 books are cover Bat books. But the next immediate episode is next 2 volumes for Batman Beyond. You got thoughts on that next. Okay, to the next video. Bye.